The government schools promote minimal literacy. That's just enough to function at work or to read road signs, but not enough to enjoy reading a major work, such as the Bible. Now, Darwin's materials need not be read, as we get a steady profusion of those lies even through entertainment from a very young age. So since most people of the book do little reading or praying but for the weekly interludes in their houses of worship, unscrupulous but charismatic leaders have taken the reins of many hearts and minds. By their manner they imply, "You can trust me because I'm always right and I never lie. Aren't I rich? Don't I wear the obligatory suit and tie? Am I not always renowned and widely traveled? Don't I have followers to prime the applause pump?" These great thought leaders employ favored passages and doctrines, bending scriptures to support their chosen self-serving beliefs, ignoring vast areas of inspired writing and basic principles of rational thought. These are the experts upon whom the masses depend for their moral guidance and understanding. The blind leading the blind. But all Scripture was given and is useful, no less the parts that are so often ignored. There's a modern witnessing method unlike anything in the Bible. If you died tonight, are you sure you would go to heaven? That's the standard opening to many conversions. If you're unsure of your salvation, these soul winners will proceed to acquaint you with the unending agony that awaits billions of unsaved souls. When they have you sufficiently scared, they give you the "repeat after me" and a glimmer of hope that you may escape this unbelievable cruelty. If you already believe you are saved or are unconcerned, they check to be sure that your beliefs are correct, like theirs, because you could be deceived. So by fear tactics, people are pressed to mentally blend supreme love with supreme cruelty. This supreme absurdity undermines faith in love and replaces it with faith in tyranny. But love dispels fear. But people are so frightened by this incongruous lie of cruelty and love dwelling supremely in the same supreme being that they don't really believe in supreme love, but are afraid to admit this for fear of offending an angry Lord, an angry so-called Lord. After all, how loving can someone be who makes multitudes suffer without end? The enemy deceived people in dark, brutal times into believing that the Father has ordained eternal torture for the lost. What could be more cruel and unjust? But get people to believe this, and it becomes nearly impossible for them to go on believing in the benevolence of the Creator and final Judge, by the way. No wonder people are too scared to think straight. They've become too highly dependent upon their unqualified mentors. So instead of having their own confident link with the Father through the Spirit, they're clinging in fear to a body of people who believe or disbelieve the same way they do. And they're just fine as long as they're encouraging each other, but on their own they quickly realize that their faith is just not there. They're being led down the garden path, folks. When an innocent child is overwhelmed by sinful influence and is thereby corrupted, contrary to what many of us were taught, that child does not face eternal suffering in the hereafter. What happens is that the corrupted adult that used to be the child is consumed away into non-existence, which is nowhere. That good child's going to be restored in the hereafter and get to grow up in a world without bad influences, uncorrupted, so that none of the creation, none of the good creation will be ultimately destroyed forever. But that which is bad and corrupted will consume away into non-existence. And then we can pretty well forget about it. This will be certain reminders to let us know that it'll never have to happen again. This is a one-shot deal. In the whole history of the universe, this is the only time this has to happen. It's a terrible ordeal, but good things don't come easy. We're promised it's all going to be worth it when it's over with. There'll be compensations and rewards according to what people have endured and what they've accomplished with their lives, and according to what their basic nature is. Because people have a basic nature. Preachers read between the lines, but there's nothing written there. Read everything the scriptures say about the hereafter, and it should be easy to see that lying scribes have tried to change meanings and create contradictions and confusion in their translations. Creation was never a game of chance. If we have His Spirit, we know that Father Yah is not a gambler. The master plan is so perfect that nothing good will be lost, nothing bad will be saved. Here's a key for clarity concerning the big picture. A paradox. Predestination and free will are both true. They're not mutually exclusive. We are free to choose freely, to decide to go the way that we're really inclined to go anyway because of our basic nature. His sheep know His voice, even though the sheep may be lost and wandering. They have a basic nature, and when they hear the urging of the Great Spirit, they're going to follow Father Yah, the Great Spirit, just like a sheep follows the shepherd. But the goats will run off and not accept any authority. The sheep will take authority. I'll accept authority of the one who gave me my life. Sure, no problem with that. Especially not just gave me my life, but gave me another chance at life when I'd made a mess of it. But there are some that'll be like the goats, and they absolutely want no authority, and they're going to run off on their own, and that's the end of them. They'll perish in the wilderness. Many profess that our Maker is a loving Father, but they neither know nor trust Him. Therefore, instead of Father, they call Him Lord and God, right? And instead of peace, love, and joy, they dwell in fear, jealousy, anger, and overwhelming physical appetites. Friends, it looks as though our allotted time is just about elapsed, so I must be off, but not by much. You can correspond with me by writing to Rick Dickson, For Love of the Truth, P.O. Box 43, Moorhead, Minnesota. If you're corresponding from outside of the United States of America, just put USA right after Minnesota.